Hello, it's Danielle again with Bahati and Kay. We are continuing our third week talking about the pleasure principles. It's our segment on sexual health. So today we're going to get into communication and boundaries and healthy relationships. Healthy sexual wellness begins with communication, trust, emotional safety, and clear boundaries. So, ladies, what do you think many women, or why do you think many women find it difficult to communicate their needs and boundaries in relationships or even not in relationships?
You can jump in. You know me, I like to talk. I think, again, I'm going to go back to the very first segment where it is a societal programming. We are taught that we are only good for one thing, which is procreation, which is creating babies and having babies. And this is where we are today in our current society, right? It's just, dismantling all these access to resources and services for women who are not yet ready to have children, or even limiting access to people who want to have children and need to have that healthcare system come around them and educate them and so forth. So that's my 2 cents on that. It's a societal thing.
Yep. Agreed. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think again, overall, it's part of the systemic programming. I was just thinking about when Kay was talking about wanting to be a tomboy and be rough and tumble, but yet when you go to the toy stores, it's like the aisle for the girls is pink and it's baby dolls or dolls that look a certain way and has this particular standard for how you should appear. Whereas how I raise my daughters is that you are necessary to yourself. You are necessary to society.
Yeah.
And they now, because I have 2 Gen Z daughters, and one of them's like, I don't even want to have kids. Like, no one deserves to have my body that way. Like, I will decide what to do with my body. And I love that they're so empowered to say those things.
Yeah.
Again, during a time when their rights and their resources are being dismantled.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Um, so I want to kind of talk a little bit about like asking for what you need when it comes to as we're talking about, sexual health and intimacy. And having like those difficult or finding it difficult to begin a conversation or having a difficult conversation. I know like I used to really be so more always focused with anything on what the other person's going to think, how is it going to make them feel, or even just, oh, I don't want anyone to get upset or whatever. And putting myself last. It took me to get, this old to not do that anymore. And, not saying anything, I was married twice and still would not have that comfort in feeling like I could express to them if there was something that maybe I needed or wanted or didn't want. And then when I would do that, it would, because I never did it before, but when I would take a little moment here or there to like express myself, like, no, I don't want to do that, then it became a problem. And so then I'd shut down again.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times that's it, as women, it's difficult sometimes for us unless you've had that from the beginning, that foundation, like with your partner, that we can talk about anything. And like you were saying, I think a couple of in the first segment, Bahati, like having that relationship with your partner where you don't shame the other
Mhm.
or whatever. I mean, because when you decide to give yourself to that person, not even just sexually, but physically, emotionally, like it should be all encompassing where you're
Mhm.
giving each of you are giving yourself to the other. It's supposed to be fully and completely. And so we should be comfortable enough to talk about things. And even if you have to like make it light, like
Mhm.
like, oh, yep, we're having a little difficulty today, honey. You got to go get KY, like or whatever. You
Yeah, that's-
know, like just deal with it, like no, I'm not, it's like and maybe it has to take something like that, like, it did for me to like get this old where it kind of pushed things in for me to say something because I'm like, yeah, I'm not having Sam pick
Mhm.
sex with you if I don't have to. So again, I mean, like, how do you feel like that having boundaries or being able to be open in communication, like how important is that to you?
Oh, it's number one. Again, if two things here, because something started like filtering through that I wanted to bring up. But the first thing is, again, if I'm not in the mood or I'm, just mentally, physically, spiritual, whatever, if I'm not in the mood or he's not in the mood, giving each other grace and understanding like our timing is just off. I just started filtering in for me is some research I'm doing right now about women in menopause who are experiencing higher divorce rates and then ending up in same sex relationships. And I find that so fascinating. Like, I wonder if they had it communicated to their spouse what they needed,
Yeah.
if there would have been room for a third party. Now, there's a trend with that, like where couples are like being a little bit more open. It's a very small trend, but I'm following it because I just find it fascinating, like how people are maneuvering around this time in their life, especially like when a couple has like a disabled spouse, right? Obviously, that disabled spouse is very limited in what they can do sexually. Oh, we lost Kay.
Yeah.
But if the disabled spouse is limited in what they can do, but the couples decide they want to stay together, are they open to bringing in another person into the relationship to allow that intimacy and desires to be fulfilled? I just find human behavior fascinating, especially around sexuality. And so those are like some trends that I'm just kind of researching, softly on the side because I'm like, what happens when that happens, right? Like I thought about that for myself. Like, what if my back completely goes on because I have degenerative disc disease, so the lower half of my body is always like in constant pain. What happens when I can't perform anymore? Will I allow space for my husband to continue to have his needs met somewhere else? You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Right.
it's an interesting kind of like
Yeah. Yeah.
pseudo
That.
pseudo culture, but it's also something to consider
Yeah.
either now or in the future because that's a possibility.
Nope. That makes perfect sense. And I I've probably been TV shows or something where you see that where the spouse has been disabled, and I didn't really didn't think about it on my own until you brought it up. But I mean, that's true. But yeah, but like you said, just being able to have those conversations, those difficult conversations, and talking about either what you want, what you don't want. Like you said, if you're tired or not in the mood. I mean, I know, like
Mhm.
I'm tired, like I'm
Yeah.
tired today, and it's funny because with it, we don't live under the same roof, but prior to me moving to another state, we still saw each other all the time and basically felt like we were living together. And so we spent most nights together. And it was like, but it's like sometimes I'm tired, and
Mhm.
mentally he still thought he's, like, this young,
Like that.
young whippersnapper. And it's like,
Yeah.
dude, but it's like, but now he gets tired, which is funny because it's like, yeah, I was just
Yeah.
tired. And then it's gonna
Exactly.
look like, really? Oh,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? You see what
Yep.
I've been trying to tell you, like just because you may have been 3 years older than me and maybe I got a little tired before you did, but I think it was just because of the nature of like what we did, for a living. And so I just had so much, not that he didn't have things mentally, that he had to deal with, but he dealt with it better than I did.
Right.
He liked what he did. Like, he loved what he did. I didn't. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so I was more drained, you know, mentally. That made me just physically wiped out.
Yeah. And it's hard to turn that off, right? Because when you're mentally challenged with work and life and all the things,
Yeah.
and then you come into an intimate space, that requires emotion and connection and physical, interaction. And so if all of those things are not aligned, it can be very difficult. And you can just later like a lump on a log and just be like, this is not enjoyable, but I'm doing it for you, right? I'm sacrificing, giving you my body for your bidding and your pleasure. And that's not fair to either person. Ever.
It's not,
Ever.
but we do.
Ever.
You know, it's like we do.
We
things.
do because we're women and we have been programmed to give and not to receive. So it makes it difficult for us to communicate what we would prefer in the actions and in the experience, right?
Yeah.
If I want my feet rubbed, if I want foreplay first, why does that have to be non-negotiable with you? Like, why does it just jump right in and get the thing done, And I'm just talking wildly, like conversations I've had. Not for me personally, because again, we have been together since we were 18, and we have learned how to communicate with each other. We have learned, yeah, we have learned what our capabilities are, and when rest is required and things like that.
Yep. Nope. And
Yeah.
that's great that you have that, because not many people
Don't. Yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
So I mean, so kudos to you and Kev, who I haven't met yet, but I'm gonna meet one yet. Oh well, this has been great. We lost Kaz, but as she said, you know, she was in the midst of a huge field, or the signal isn't that great. But she's got to get her painting on, so she might be able to make it for next week's, but we'll have to see. So just another takeaway is that healthy relationships thrive when women feel safe, respected, and empowered to communicate openly. So as you fellas out there make us feel safe and respected, where we feel that we can openly share what we need to say to you, just might be in your best interest.
And women, because there may be women and women out there, your partner.
That's true. That's true. Your partner.
It's Pride Month, and we love everybody.
And when I say that, it's just that's just my age coming out. I'm just used to saying certain things, but yes, your partner.
Your partner.
I mean, I have to say my partner because he's not my spouse, so yeah, same thing. But anyway, it has been a great another episode, and join us next week as we wrap up our women's health series with our last pleasure principles, and this one is talking about pleasure, so you definitely want to make sure that you tune in for that. Danielle with Kay, who got bounced off, and Bahati. Again, thanks for joining the She Ascend Circle. Tell everybody, because they're missing out on the conversation. What's good for that soul? Do that.